With us tonight is Mary Williams, a lifelong resident of the Oley Valley, as well as a longtime volunteer of the Oley Fair. So welcome, Mary, and thank you for being with us tonight.
Good evening, and thank you.
So Mary, you were telling me a little bit about some of the memories of the fair. Do you want to start a little bit and tell us about the school bus?
Oh, yes. I don't know if they allowed all students to go to the fair, but I know I was allowed to go to the fair on the school bus. When I say all students, I mean, I don't know if they allowed first graders, because we were picked up at home, and it wasn't the whole day. I'm not sure, maybe half a day we were allowed to go to the fair. And I remember doing that, and of course my parents gave me some spending money, and I always made sure I had enough for either a creamsicle or a popsicle that I always wanted to have at the fair, and
Good.
maybe sometimes two.
That sounds good. So you were telling me a little bit about the flowers in the high school library.
Yes. Well, I remember the exhibits in the classrooms, and of course, I remember moving desks out of the rooms. But I do remember that, and perhaps I didn't think of it too much at the time, but of course, eventually that's where I had my first job. But not in the administration building, in the new building.
And you were telling me also about a funny story of when the fair was over at the school and you were with your dad.
Yes.
Tell us about that second
Well,
floor.
I was on the first floor with him, and I don't know why, but we heard the floor creak. And he said, you know, there's a lot of weight up there, meaning with the exhibits and all the people that were walking around upstairs. And I, of course, thought of it coming down, but that never happened, thank goodness. And I think it was just all the people walking around that caused the creak. I don't know.
Speaking of your father, you have a little bit of a funny story about gourds that you entered at the fair.
Oh, yes. Well, I don't remember why we started to raise gourds at home, but we did. And of course, he allowed us, my brothers and myself, to enter them in the fair. And he would, of course, sort of pick out ones he thought he would win. And he picked out some large gourds. They were sort of long and oblong, and I thought they were the ugliest things. And he insisted I enter them, and although I didn't want to, I didn't think they deserved to be entered. And of course, I won first prize.
Great.
On the gourds.
Congratulations. And speaking of first prize, you have a pretty ribbon there that you're pretty proud of. Do you want to tell us about that 1952 ribbon that you have there?
Yes. I think I was about 10, 11 when I entered or joined the 4-H in the Oley Valley. It was at that time mostly Oley and Amityville, the people. And I had a steer. We could, well, the 4-H bought the steers, but we picked numbers then. That's how I got my steer. But anyway, I had grand champion with my steer, and I think I was only in about 7th grade. So I found our fair ribbons at home, and I didn't have this one. And yesterday it dawned on me where it might be, and I found it. So I'm glad I could find it and bring it along.
And I think you told me that same steer then the next year or a couple months later went to the farm show.
Yes, because if you won in the county, you know, at the different fairs, you qualified to go to the farm show. And I know I stayed overnight. They had the exhibitors, so we'd be up there overnight, and I know they had another girl sort of, I know they asked her to sort of take care of me at the farm show because I was, I don't know, 11 maybe, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what a great experience. So in 1957 was one of your volunteer efforts when you were in the senior cake and cider stand.
Yes, and I like to think that we were successful. I don't remember having a lot of rain, but there is one thing I do remember. It was my first experience making coffee. And we didn't usually sell coffee, but we did when the exhibitors were entering the things for the fair. And of course, I made the coffee, and I don't remember, it was bad. I mean, really bad. The gentleman I sold it to knew me, and he brought it back, and he told me about it. And I don't remember if I made it too strong or too weak, but we did correct it then. I got some help on that.
Very good. So you live in an area now where you have some new people that move in from outside the valley that maybe have never been to the fair before. What would you tell those people as you greet them in your development?
Well, I would certainly encourage them to come to the fair, and I know that many of them do come. And I'd also suggest if they would like to volunteer, it'd be a good experience. They'd meet a lot of people. So I would encourage them to do that.
Good. And when you're not volunteering in one aspect or another at the fair, I know we see you sometimes in the Oley Valley Heritage stand. So tell us a little bit about that stand that you guys have.
Well, we try to present something historical of the valley. And I know just recently we did something on the fair. We had old photos, and I know I dug out some of my old ribbons, not these, but we appreciate the fair. First of all, Kevin, I should say thank you to the fair on behalf of our organization for allowing us to have a stand at the fair. And I'm not sure what we'll do for this year yet, but I usually work on that. And I try to give part of a day also to the refreshment stand, working in the refreshment stand.
Well, we love to have the heritage as part of the fair as well.
Well, thank you.
So you've been around the fair for a long time. There's got to be a memory or two that really sticks in your mind. What might that be?
Oh. I remember when many fairs when it rained and some of the tents, of course, flew over. And my husband used to take a lot of pictures, and I know he would take a picture. I know it's always hectic getting ready because when my children were younger and they exhibited and we had vegetables and gourds and Indian corn, it was a lot of work. But I always enjoyed the fair, and one part that I think is really the best, it's just great to go and you see old friends and you get to talk to old friends and many times meet new ones because you'll get on a conversation and then you'll realize that they know someone or there's some connection. So I think that's great.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
With the cake and cider, do you recall with the cake and cider stand, did you have themes to the cake and cider stand? Did you decorate the cake and cider stand?
That I don't remember. I don't remember that we did that. We had a booth. It was at the old administration building when you'd enter that first door from what I guess now is the parking lot, you know. That's where it was. And then the stage, the fair stage was along that wall of the school as well.
Do you remember the cake and cider stand when it started?
No, I don't know that. But I know we had it because it was the fundraiser for our class. Because our great trip to New York City.